So the first thing I want to talk about is Juan Manuel Marquez's counterpunching ability. Marquez is known as one of the all-time great counterpunchers in boxing history, and that is because he is one of the few masters at pulling his opponents out of position. And being able to pull your opponent out of position is one of the most essential keys to counterpunching, and there's many ways that Marquez likes to do this.
And he could keep off balance if he just start using that jab instead of
very, very high, I've noticed. Almost as high as Manny. Hagler used to have his right hand, catches him. Starting to do a bit.
Oh, this isn't a good angle to see, but Marquez is keeping his distance here. Notice he doesn't bite on this feint, he doesn't bite at all, and this prompts him to throw a combination here. So you see the 1-2, and you notice that Marquez steps back to avoid the straight left hand from his opponent, and it also forces him to reach, opening him up to be countered. And Marquez counters him with a beautiful right hand left hook combination. Let's watch that again. So Marquez is going to step to his left while throwing the jab to make Pacquiao throw at him, and once Pacquiao throws at him, once again we see Marquez's perfectly timed step back, gives him the distance to get just outside of Manny Pacquiao's combination, and Marquez threw that jab just to draw Pacquiao out so that he could counter him. Steps back, measures the distance with his left hand, right hand, and then a left hook to finish it off. Beautiful combination and beautiful counter punching. Just for comparison, we see Pacquiao do the same combination to Keith Thurman. You see the jab, jab, right hand, drops Keith Thurman. But then you see him try against Marquez, same combination, jab, left hand, and then he gets countered because Marquez steps out of range. And I just want to emphasize that there is nothing wrong with taking a step back. Distance is always your first line of defense, and a well-timed step back as your opponent is punching can allow you to make them miss. And as they miss, of course you should make them pay.
And he's supposedly the stronger man. And he's hurt. A huge uppercut. Down goes Diaz.
Here Marquez counters Juan Diaz's jab by slipping to the inside and countering with the overhand right. And slipping to the inside of a punch is generally a risky and dangerous strategy because you put your head in danger of your opponent's other hand. However, if you slip to the inside in the orthodox versus orthodox matchup, if you slip the jab to the inside, what it does is it brings your right hand in line with your opponent's head. So now you could time your right hand as your opponent is throwing the jab, as effectively countering their jab. So it's a very risky strategy to slip to the inside, but it could also be very rewarding as you see here. And as you see, this one overhand right counter stuns Diaz enough so that Marquez could finish him off. But how exactly does Marquez time this jab so well? So notice how when Diaz takes a step forward, Juan Manuel Marquez takes a step back to maintain that distance. And the jab is the most likely punch that a boxer will throw. Notice you see Marquez catches him there. The jab is the most likely punch a boxer will throw, so Marquez is anticipating the jab to come from Diaz. So when he takes that step back, he's really just anticipating that jab so that he could time it, and this is already later in the fight, so Marquez already does have a feel for Diaz's timing. So Marquez, being the scientific boxer that he is looking for something to counter from Diaz. He's looking to study Juan Diaz, so when he sees the jab, he doesn't even have to know it's a jab, he just has to see Juan Diaz move and then slip to the inside automatically to counter with the right hand.
Supposedly the stronger man. And he's hurt. A huge uppercut. Down goes Diaz. First knockdown. Okay. Here's another look at the first knockdown, Emmanuel.
Right hand, but what amazed me was the precision and the accuracy of the punches from Marquez. He didn't miss too many punches, and he was punching from all angles, even as he was twisting and turning.
In his second fight with Manny Pacquiao, Marquez was content with keeping his distance and waiting for Pacquiao to throw his 1-1-2 combination, and every time this happened, Marquez would step back so that he could see the left hand, catch it, and counter with his right hand. So we see Pacquiao come in with a jab or the double jab. Marquez parries it, takes a step back, and is anticipating the left hand, so he takes a step back, catches the left hand, and counters with the right hand. Once again, when we see Pacquiao come in with the double jab, Marquez steps back as soon as he sees that jab, makes Pacquiao extend on the left hand, and he counters with the right hand on the same side as Pacquiao's left hand. So once again, you see Pacquiao comes in with the double jab, and Marquez takes a step back, and then counters the left hand once he catches it with the right hand. Next, I want to talk about how Marquez was great at countering with combinations instead of just one punch. And if you can maintain good balance while you step back, slip, or pivot to create counterpunching opportunities, then you should be in position to throw follow-up punches after you counter. And I just want to say that this is very difficult to do, but Marquez was an absolute master at this. So we see Marquez step back from this wild lead right hook, and he fades away from it, and notice how Marquez only takes one step back to avoid it. And this is important because by taking just one step back, he has his feet still below him and he has his balance, so he's ready to throw multiple punches in succession, which we're about to see. So we see the counter left hook over the exposed side, and a right hand to finish him off, and a left uppercut just for good measure. So notice here how Marquez leans onto his back foot and posts his lead hand on his opponent's lead hand to control him as he's moving away from the attack. And since Marquez has lead hand control in this position, he's really only open for a left hand down the middle. So understanding the opening, Marquez slips the obvious left hand, which was the only punch he was open for, and was able to see it coming because he transitioned his weight to his back foot, giving him extra distance, which in turn gives him extra time to see the punch coming. And so the last thing I want you to notice with this is that even as Marquez slips this punch, he is still balanced because his head is still between his feet as shown by the green lines. You see his head is clearly in between the green lines, which shows that he's balanced. And his opponent, as you can see, is not balanced because his head, as demonstrated by the red line, is actually beyond his lead foot, which is demonstrated by the blue line. This is important because by remaining balanced, Marquez is able to not only throw a meaningful counter punch with his feet under him, but is also in position to throw multiple punches. Right away, Marquez is able to counter with a barrage of punches because he's already in good position.
Left hook right cross.
Same as he did with Diaz.
Firing away just as he did in rounds against one of the greatest fighters in modern history. What a left hook upstairs by...
So we see Marquez is stuck on the ropes, so he cannot step back to create a counterpunching opportunity in this situation. But in this fight, Michael Katsidis had a lot of success with the left hook. So at this point in the fight, Marquez was starting to expect the left hook, and was beginning to counter it by catching the left hook and countering it on the same side with his right hook. You see Marquez catches the left hook, counters with the right hand on the same exposed side as Katsidis. You see him lean in, trying to bait another shot, trying to bait that left hook, and then he sees a left uppercut which he fades from, counters with a combination, beautiful combination as a counter. And then once again he catches the left hook because it's becoming obvious at this point. He's going to shoot a right hand to bait out the left hook again, slips under the left hook, and then counters with another combination. Very beautiful. How he's able to counter with multiple punches instead of just one, so he's able to win these exchanges even though he's on the ropes.
He wants to build a house. He has a wife. You can build a couple in the Philippines. Inspired kind of fight. He says he has no other hop. What a great exchange!
You know, the hawk is going right to him. He's not taking it easy. Both got
Marquez's face in a furious exchange with a determined contender to the body.
Oh, big left hook by Marquez. He doubled up.
So here we see Marquez slip the left hand to the outside and use that to turn Haka around onto the ropes by pivoting over to the inside and then countering with a combination. You see that. And here once again we're going to see him step back to create distance to avoid this combination. Notice he steps back with his arm extended to use it as a shield, and then once his opponent Haka overextends, he counters him with a combination there. Once again, we're going to see Marquez step back away from the attack with his arm extended, and then counter with a right hand once his opponent is done attacking. Here against the ropes is going to catch the punch and then counter with a combination. Beautiful combination, how he's always able to come back because of his balance. And here's the knockout sequence we're going to see here. So Marquez is going to shoot a jab to draw Haka forward, and once Haka tries to counter him, Marquez steps back and counters the counter attempt from Haka with a combination, and that left hook at the end of the combination puts him down and out for the count. Stepping back isn't the only way Marquez uses distance to set up counter punches. A higher risk but higher reward technique is to step forward with a punch while moving your head off of the center line so you could dodge your opponent's punch. And if you could time your opponent coming in, the power of your counter punch will amplify in power because your opponent will be moving into the punch. Marquez times Pacquiao's feint by stepping in with a punch to catch him while taking his head off the center line. And notice this is actually something that happened to them in their first fight. He tries to step back from Pacquiao's feint, but instead gets caught with the left hand after biting on it. So now he made the adjustment in the fourth fight by stepping in with Pacquiao's feint because he knows it's just a feint. Notice there in the first fight, falls for the feint, then gets caught with the straight left hand and gets put down. This time he steps in with the feint and counters it with the right hand. And I remember him training for this by knocking out sparring partners, emulating this feint from Manny Pacquiao. And of course, Marquez's signature move is his hard feint to the left. This serves multiple purposes, but mainly he uses it to test his opponents and study how they react to it so that he could capitalize on the potential opening later. In these examples, Marquez is using his feint on Manny Pacquiao to break Pacquiao's rhythm and slow the pace of the fight down. Marquez understands how dangerous Manny Pacquiao is when you allow him to build his rhythm, and this forces him to reset, allowing Marquez to get his own offense going. So we see Marquez feint Pacquiao, forcing him to reset and forcing him to be wary about the offense. And when Pacquiao resets, Marquez can open up with combinations. And these combinations are what makes Pacquiao unable to decipher whether Marquez is going to feint or not. There you see him feint, and then he throws a real punch, and now Pacquiao's confused as to when it's going to be a real punch and when it's just going to be a feint. So we see Marquez do a feint right here. Then you're going to see him do another feint. And he's going to feint yet again. And yet another feint, and there's still no action. So now Marquez feints again. Now Pacquiao tries to counter him for it. So you see yet another feint from Marquez and another feint. Now with Pacquiao losing his patience, he's really trying to start some action. So now that Marquez has Pacquiao confused as to whether a feint or a punch is coming, Pacquiao is attempting to counter Marquez at this point. Noticing this, Marquez continues to feint to draw Pacquiao's counter out so that now he can counter Pacquiao's counter. Marquez feints Pacquiao to draw out a counter attempt. The counter attempt is successfully baited out, so Marquez is now pulling back from it. And then Marquez counters Pacquiao's counter attempt. And of course, if Marquez notices that you're not reacting to the feints at all, he'll go in with a signature lead uppercut, or he'll make his feint look like a left hook to the body, or he could use a straight right hand from the feint. Alright guys, I'm going to end the video here. As always, thank you all for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed the video and learned something along the way. This was a special video to celebrate 5,000 subscribers to this channel. I truly can't believe that many people watch my content. It was my ultimate goal, and it was a goal I thought I would never reach, so I'm truly grateful for all the support from all of you fight fans around the world. I'd also like to say congratulations to Juan Manual Marquez for his induction into the Hall of Fame. It's truly deserved for one of the greatest fighters from Mexico's rich boxing history and one of the best of the era. So once again, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.
This bubble, I won't guess this bubble wrap. It's like a vicious cycle. I like so the crisis strikes. How was I supposed to know she would turn out like it did? Feels like I'm going cycle again, and I might just blow my bitch. And I almost missed it. I would've never made recovery, kid. Cause I'm running in circles with